The Galactic Senate stretched like a sea of lights across a giant silver hall. Thousands of alien species filled their floating seats, each one glowing in different colors, each one watching the center platform where the fate of one small blue planet would be decided. At the heart of that hall, a holographic globe of Earth spun slowly. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds, it looked peaceful, innocent. But the alien leaders didn't see beauty. They saw danger. The Senate Speaker, a tall insectoid creature with glassy wings, raised his claws. "Honorable delegates," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The matter of the human species is now ready for vote." Whispers filled the air. On one side, the gentle avians of Sanar clicked their beaks nervously. On another, the reptilian crawl warriors hissed with satisfaction. Many had heard of humanity's wars, their nuclear weapons, their unpredictable emotions. To the galaxy, humans were wild animals who had learned to build spaceships. "The humans of Earth," the speaker continued, "have shown aggression even among their own kind. They have destroyed their environment, waged countless wars, and refused peaceful contact. For the safety of the galaxy, the Dominion Council recommends classification as subsentient aggressors. In galactic law, that meant enslavement. No rights, no voice, no freedom." The chamber filled with flashes as each species cast their vote. Krell Dominion, aye. Vorkai Collective, aye. Loran Empire, aye. One by one, green lights appeared, symbolizing agreement. Out of thousands, not one light turned red, until the end when only the empty seat marked Human Observer remained dark. The speaker turned solemnly. "The vote is unanimous. Earth will be subdued. Humanity will be enslaved under Dominion law." Applause shook the air. The aliens congratulated one another, believing they had saved the galaxy from chaos. None of them realized they had just lit a fire that would one day burn their empires. On Earth, the day began like any other. In New York, people woke up for work. In Tokyo, children went to school. In Islamabad, shopkeepers opened their stalls under the morning sun. No one knew that above the sky, fleets of alien warships were already entering orbit. At 0943 UTC, the first global signal hit every satellite and television network. "Citizens of Earth, you are now property of the Galactic Dominion. Do not resist," the message repeated in every language, every tone. At first, people thought it was a hack, a prank. But then the skies opened. Giant vessels appeared, casting shadows that stretched for miles. They were smooth, silver, and humming with strange energy. Governments scrambled jets, launched missiles, but every weapon failed. The alien shields shimmered and absorbed everything. In Washington, the president shouted into a microphone, "Do not fire unless attacked." But the signal cut off. Moments later, the White House disappeared in a flash of white light. Across the planet, chaos followed. Cities fell silent as alien drones swept through streets, stunning anyone who resisted. Entire armies were neutralized without a single alien casualty. By nightfall, the world was no longer free. In the ruins of Geneva, a group of humans hid inside an underground research facility. The room was dark, filled with smoke, broken computers, and frightened people. Dr. Elena Voss sat beside a cracked monitor, her hands shaking. She had seen the alien ships destroy the defense grid within minutes. Beside her stood General Marcus Trent, a broad-shouldered man with gray hair and eyes that looked more tired than afraid. "They came too fast," Elena whispered. "We didn't even have time to understand who they were." Trent placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll understand them soon enough. And when we do, we'll fight." The others in the room looked at him, some with hope, some with disbelief. Fighting seemed impossible. The invaders had technology centuries ahead. But Trent's voice stayed calm. "Listen up," he said. "They've underestimated us. They think we'll break. They think fear will keep us quiet. But we're humans. We don't quit. Not until we're dead." A young soldier, bleeding from a shoulder wound, muttered, "General, what's the plan? There's no way to fight them." Trent smiled faintly. "Then we'll stop thinking the old way. They've shown us their technology, their ships, their weapons. That's a mistake they'll regret." He pointed to the cracked monitor where alien transmission signals flickered. "Dr. Voss, can you tap into that frequency?" Elena frowned. "Maybe. They're using something like quantum entanglement, instant communication through paired particles. But the pattern looks unfamiliar. Like old radar frequencies." Trent nodded. "Then start studying it. Every weakness counts. We'll build something, anything that bites back." He looked around at the others. Project Prometheus is active again. Days turned into weeks. Alien overseers installed control towers in major cities, sending drones to collect food and materials. Humans were forced into camps to work as miners, builders, or servants. At first, there was resistance, riots, bombings, small attacks, but the aliens crushed them with ease. They called humans feral primates in their broadcasts. They didn't see individuals, only tools, but not all humans obeyed. Across the world, small resistance groups formed in the shadows. Old soldiers, hackers, engineers, even teenagers who refused to kneel. They passed messages hidden in static, used ancient radios to avoid alien sensors, and called themselves by one name, Prometheans. In an old subway tunnel beneath London, a group listened to a pirate transmission. "This is General Trent," the voice said through static. "We are alive. We are many. Remember what they took from us. Remember who we are." Each time someone heard that message, another human joined the cause. Meanwhile, in orbit, Commander Rhea Cole of the Galactic Dominion observed the chaos on Earth from her bridge window. Her ship, the Vigilant Star, floated above the clouds like a god's chariot. Her second officer, a scaled creature from the crawl species, bowed before her. "Commander, the pacification is complete. The humans are subdued." Rhea glanced at the data screens. The numbers told a different story. Missing patrols, destroyed drones, stolen supplies. "Subdued?" she said coldly. "Then explain why resistance cells are multiplying." The officer hesitated. "They are disorganized, insignificant, just primitive chaos." Rhea turned to face him, her silver eyes narrowing. "Chaos can burn empires if ignored. Never underestimate desperation." She looked again at Earth below, a world wounded yet still burning with life. "These humans, they fight even when they've already lost," she whispered to herself. "Interesting." On the ground, the humans kept moving. Dr. Voss worked tirelessly, analyzing alien tech pieces scavenged from wrecked drones. The deeper she studied, the more she learned. The Dominion's quantum control chips relied on frequencies that matched certain Earth radar bands. That meant interference was possible. One night, after hours of testing, she called Trent. "General, I found something." He leaned over the console. "Talk to me." "They use a network that's sensitive to electromagnetic noise. If we broadcast the right kind of signal, high enough power, we can blind their control systems for a few seconds." Trent smiled for the first time in days. "A few seconds is all we need." They began building a prototype, a quantum noise jammer. Crude, unstable, but human-made. When they activated it for the first time, the lights in the bunker flickered. The air smelled of ozone. Outside, alien drones flying above the ruins suddenly dropped from the sky, crashing into the ground. Elena gasped. "It works." Trent looked at the burning wrecks through a cracked window and said quietly, "Then it begins." Across the planet, the message spread again through secret frequencies. "This is Project Prometheus. Humanity is not broken. We fight in the dark, but we fight together." In cities, deserts, and frozen mountains, people began sabotaging alien convoys. Power stations exploded. Supply ships vanished. Every day, a new report came in of another minor disruption. But those small fires were growing into a storm. In the Galactic Senate, panic began to rise. Reports from Earth were worse each week. The enslaved species had never fought back this hard, never adapted so fast. The speaker demanded answers from Commander Rhea. "You were tasked with controlling them. What is happening down there?" Rhea stood tall. "They are learning. They copy our technology, our tactics. They are not behaving like other primitives," the speaker hissed. "Then make them submit." Rhea's eyes turned toward the stars. "They will not submit. They will become something far more dangerous." That night, as fires burned on the surface of Earth, a single transmission escaped the planet, encrypted, untraceable, but real. A human voice spoke into the void. "To whoever hears this, we are humans. We are alive, and we will never be slaves." The signal vanished into the dark, traveling across the stars, reaching faraway worlds that had also suffered under the Dominion. Some heard it. Some ignored it. But for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt afraid, because the species they voted to enslave had just declared war. Deep under the frozen ruins of Switzerland, the air vibrated with a low hum. Electric sparks flashed across the walls of a hidden base, once a science facility but now the heart of human resistance. Project Prometheus, Dr. Elena Voss stood before a cluster of alien crystals, each pulsing faintly blue. "These are the Dominion's control cores," she explained, her voice firm despite exhaustion. "They use quantum resonance to link drones and ships. But there's something they didn't expect. Earth's old radar bands interfere with their systems." General Marcus Trent, arms crossed, studied the shimmering crystals. "So we can jam them?" Elena nodded, brushing dust from her hair. "Not perfectly, but enough to blind their surveillance. We can give our people a chance to strike back." Around them, the small team of engineers and soldiers worked nonstop. Broken wires, scavenged alien tech, and computer parts filled every corner. It was messy, dangerous, and human to the core. Prometheus was no longer a project. It was becoming a movement. While humanity rebuilt its courage underground, the surface world changed. Alien overseers ruled from their control towers, tall structures of glass and energy that floated above major cities. From them, drones patrolled the skies, monitoring every move, every breath. Any human seen with a weapon or communication device was executed publicly. But despite the fear, rebellion spread like wildfire. In old subway tunnels, hidden caves, and mountain shelters, people whispered of the jammer, a weapon that could make the aliens blind for seconds. Resistance groups begged for copies, and soon small jammers appeared all over the world. At first, they caused small disruptions, drones falling, lights flickering, but then entire alien convoys started disappearing. One night in the ruins of Paris, a group of civilians watched in awe as alien hovercrafts crashed mid-air, their systems fried. Someone whispered, "Prometheus is with us." And across the broken earth, hope began to rise again. On the orbiting ship, Vigilant Star, Commander Rhea Cole paced before a glowing galactic map. Her officers were tense. "Another convoy lost," said Lieutenant Crix, the reptilian aide. "That makes 12 this month." Rhea's silver eyes narrowed. "Explain." Crix flicked his claws nervously. "Reports say human interference. They are unpredictable." Rhea turned sharply. "They were supposed to be pacified." "Commander," Crix continued carefully, "perhaps we underestimated them." Rhea walked to the wide observation window, where the blue marble of Earth spun below. "Underestimated?" she said quietly. "No, we insulted them. There's a difference." She had studied hundreds of conquered species. Most obeyed once beaten. None had risen again so fast. The humans were different. They adapted with terrifying speed. "They are learning our technology," she muttered. "And they are angry." In the Geneva base, Prometheus grew bolder. Elena sat at a workstation surrounded by glowing monitors. "We can't just hide anymore," she told General Trent. "If we keep waiting, they'll crush us." Trent nodded. "Then we take the fight to them." He pulled out a rough map of the planet. "Our scouts found something, a Dominion relay in the Sahara Desert. It's a communication hub that coordinates every alien drone on Earth. If we destroy it, we cut off their eyes." Elena looked at him in disbelief. "That place is guarded by a full garrison." Trent smiled slightly. "Then it's the perfect place to send a message." 3 nights later, under a blood-red sunset, a team of Prometheans rode across the desert in armored trucks built from scavenged alien scrap. The air shimmered with heat, and every few miles they saw floating patrols. "Signal jammers ready?" Trent asked through the radio. Elena's voice came back. "All green. Once you're close, I'll trigger the pulse. You'll have 30 seconds before they regain control." 30 seconds, Trent repeated. "That's all we need." As the convoy reached the relay tower, alien searchlights swept across the dunes. Massive drones descended, engines howling. The humans ducked behind wrecks, waiting. "Now," Trent whispered. Elena hit the switch. The jammer screamed to life. A shockwave of white noise burst through the air. Alien drones froze mid-flight. The tower's shields flickered. "Move!" Trent shouted. Humans charged forward, firing stolen plasma rifles. Explosions painted the night. Sparks rained down as alien guards scrambled in confusion, their weapons useless. Within seconds, the humans reached the tower's core. Trent planted explosives around the glowing crystal nodes. "Set to detonate in 10, he said. "Fall back." As they ran, alien systems rebooted. Lasers fired wildly, cutting the sand into molten glass. One blast hit the side of a truck, flipping it over. A soldier screamed. Trent grabbed him, dragging him to safety. Then boom! The relay tower erupted, sending a pillar of blue fire into the sky. For a moment, the desert lit up like daylight. Elena watched from the control room in Geneva, tears in her eyes. They did it. Trent's voice came through, broken but alive. Prometheus lives. Across the world, alien screens flickered and died. Their command network crashed and drones fell like rain. In cities everywhere, humans rose up, attacking alien patrols, burning control centers. For the first time since the invasion, the Dominion was losing control. The Galactic Senate was thrown into chaos. The speaker's voice echoed in the Grand Chamber. "This cannot continue. How can a primitive world cause such destruction?" An elder from the Kral Dominion hissed. "They are violent creatures. We should have burned their planet completely." A timid alien from the Sanar species spoke softly. "Perhaps we should negotiate? They seem too strong for a primitive race." The chamber exploded with laughter. "Negotiate? With savages? Ridiculous. Crush them." But one voice, clear, sharp, and cold, cut through the noise. It was Commander Rhea Cole. "You fools," she said, stepping into the light. "They are not savages. They are survivors. You cannot crush what adapts faster than your weapons." The hall fell silent. The speaker hissed, "Commander Cole, you overstep your authority." Rhea stared him down. "No, you overstepped when you enslaved them." Then she turned and walked away, leaving the Senate in stunned silence. Back on Earth, victory came with pain. The relay attack had cost dozens of lives. The survivors buried their dead under the desert stars. General Trent stood among the graves, the sand shifting in the cold wind. "They died free," he said quietly. Elena stood beside him, clutching her coat. "How long can we keep this up, Marcus?" "Every win brings more losses." Trent looked toward the horizon where faint lights from alien ships burned in the sky. "As long as it takes," he paused. "We can't just defend Earth anymore. We need to strike back beyond the planet." Elena frowned. "Into space?" "Yes," he said. "They think space is their home. It's time we visit." In the following months, Prometheus expanded. Hidden workshops built hybrid machines, half alien, half human. Engineers fused alien energy cores with human engines. Scientists reprogrammed captured drones to serve humans instead. The first prototype of a human-built starship began construction under the old lunar mining tunnels. It was called the Retribution. The ship was ugly, uneven, dented, made from stolen parts, but it worked. It roared to life with a deep, thunderous hum, shaking the lunar dust off the ceiling. Elena watched from the control room, smiling faintly. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Trent, standing beside her, nodded. "Beautiful enough to scare them." Meanwhile, alien morale broke. Dominion soldiers grew afraid to patrol Earth. Their weapons malfunctioned. Their supplies vanished, and every night, human broadcasts filled their communication lines with defiant messages. "This is Project Prometheus. You thought we were weak. You were wrong." On one transmission, Commander Rhea Cole secretly listened from her ship. Each human voice carried fire, conviction, and pride. She felt something she had not felt in years, respect. Her second officer entered. "Commander, orders from the Senate. Deploy orbital bombardment. Erase their resistance." Rhea's expression hardened. "And kill millions of civilians?" "It is their command." She turned away from him, her jaw tight. "Tell them no." "I will not become what I despise." In the Geneva base, Elena was testing a new jammer model when the alarms blared. "General, Dominion ships are moving into strike formation." Trent ran into the control room. "How many?" "5 orbital destroyers," she said. "They're charging weapons." Outside, the sky turned crimson. Energy beams tore through the clouds, striking the Earth. Entire mountains shook. But then, suddenly, the bombardment stopped. Every radar went silent. Trent stared in confusion. "What happened?" Elena looked at the monitors. Someone stopped them. Someone up there. In orbit, Commander Rhea Cole stood on her bridge. Her officers stared at her, terrified. "You disobeyed the Senate," one said. She looked down at Earth, her voice calm but strong. "No, I chose to do what's right." That night in the underground base, a new message spread across the resistance network. The enemy hesitates. Their unity cracks. Humanity stands. Trent sat beside Elena, watching the flickering lights on the screens. "They wanted to enslave us," he said softly. "Now they'll learn what happens when humans fight together." Elena smiled faintly. "Prometheus is awake." Above them, the stars burned brighter than ever, silent witnesses to the birth of something the galaxy had never seen before. A species once enslaved, now preparing for revenge. The moon base trembled as the engines of the ISS Retribution came alive. Deep underground, mechanics and soldiers stood in silence watching history unfold. Blue plasma thrusters ignited, filling the tunnels with a fierce light. For the first time, humanity was sending a warship, their warship, into the stars. General Marcus Trent stood beside Dr. Elena Voss on the control deck. He wore a dark uniform, the flag of Earth stitched on his shoulder. His eyes glowed with pride. "She's ready," Elena said softly. "Fully armed, shields functional and powered by stolen Dominion reactors." "She's crude, but she's ours," Trent smiled. "Crude is fine. We've been underestimated long enough." The Retribution rose from the moon's surface, lifting dust like a silver storm. The engines roared louder than thunder. When it broke through the darkness into open space, every human in the base cheered. "Launch successful," the navigator reported. "Heading toward the outer orbit," Elena whispered. "For Earth." The Dominion ships didn't expect resistance from space. When their sensors detected a human vessel approaching, they assumed it was a mistake, a derelict ship, maybe a mining drone. But when the Retribution fired its first railgun round, it tore a Dominion patrol frigate in half. The explosion painted the stars orange. Inside the ship, the crew shouted in disbelief. "Target destroyed." "We did it!" Trent gripped the railing tightly, his heart pounding. "Don't celebrate yet. There'll be more." Indeed, alarms echoed through the galaxy. Dominion command stations sent urgent reports. "Human warship detected." "Repeat, human warship." The Galactic Senate, confident that Earth was broken, was suddenly thrown into panic. In the Senate chamber, chaos reigned. "The humans have built a starship?" The speaker shouted, his wings trembling. "Impossible." Reports streamed in. "Dominion patrols destroyed, communication relays hacked, supply ships vanishing. They are spreading," an officer cried. "Every system near Earth is under attack." The old reptilian crawl warlord slammed his claws on the table. "Exterminate them. Send the fleet." But another delegate, smaller and quieter, whispered, "If they can already build ships, what will they do next?" The Senate didn't answer. Deep down, many of them already knew. They had awakened something unstoppable. In the darkness of space, Commander Rhea Cole's ship, the Vigilant Star, received the emergency call. "Commander," said her aide Crix, "the humans have destroyed another patrol. Orders from the Senate: intercept and eliminate." Rhea looked at the data. One small human ship against the Dominion's massive fleets. It should have been an easy mission, but something inside her hesitated. She remembered the broadcast she had once intercepted, a human voice full of fire and pain. "We are humans. We are alive. And we will never be slaves," she turned to her officers. "Set a course for lunar orbit." When the Vigilant Star reached the battle site, it found only debris. The Dominion frigates floated lifeless, hulls torn open. Human railgun slugs had ripped through them like paper. "Commander," said Crix, scanning the wreckage. "No sign of the human ship." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "They're hiding." As if answering her thought, a bright flash appeared from the darkness, a missile. It struck the Dominion cruiser beside them, blasting it into molten fragments. "Evasive maneuvers," Rhea shouted. The Retribution emerged from the shadow of an asteroid, guns blazing. Every shot was precise, deliberate. For a ship made by scavengers, it fought like a predator. Inside the Retribution, Trent barked commands. "Focus fire on their engines. Don't waste ammo." Elena watched the radar as explosions lit the black sky. "We're holding our ground." The battle raged for hours. Plasma beams cut through the void, railguns roared, and debris drifted like burning snow. Finally, the Vigilant Star and the Retribution faced each other directly. Rhea stared at the human ship's strange, jagged hull. It was ugly, but she saw beauty in its defiance. She opened a channel. "Human vessel, this is Commander Rhea Cole of the Dominion. You are outnumbered." "Stand down," Trent replied, his voice steady. "You invaded our world. You enslaved our people. We don't surrender." Rhea took a long breath. "You can't win this war." Trent looked at Elena, then back at the screen. "We already did. The moment we stopped kneeling, and the transmission cut off. The Retribution fired its last railgun slug, tearing through the Dominion's forward guns before turning toward the moon. It vanished into the shadows once again. On her bridge, Rhea stood silent among the wreckage. Her crew waited for her order to pursue, to destroy, but she said nothing. Instead, she whispered, "They fight for something we've forgotten." Her aide frowned. "Commander," Rhea turned away. "Prepare a report for the Senate. Tell them the humans are no longer prey." Back on Earth, the victory echoed across every resistance camp. The Retribution's success was proof that humans could fight the Dominion in space. In a ruined stadium turned into a rally ground, survivors gathered as Trent spoke over a makeshift microphone. "They thought they could own us," he said, his voice booming. "They thought we would break. But every fallen city, every lost life has built the fire we need to burn them down." The crowd roared, waving tattered flags. "For Earth. For freedom." Dr. Voss watched from the edge, smiling faintly. For months she had seen despair in every face. Now there was hope. Real hope. After the speech, she walked up to Trent. "They'll come for us harder now." "I know," he said. "That's why we have to move faster." The humans didn't stop. They built more ships, small, quick vessels they called hunters. They attacked Dominion cargo lines, rescued enslaved workers, and hijacked alien fuel depots. Every strike spread fear across the stars. Alien citizens on distant worlds whispered the same words. The Terrans have come. On planets once loyal to the Dominion, rebellions began. Seeing humans defy their conquerors inspired others who had been silent for centuries. In one hidden colony, a group of enslaved aliens sent a message to Earth. It read simply, "You fight for freedom. We will fight beside you." For the first time, humanity was no longer alone. The Galactic Senate held another emergency meeting. The chamber lights flickered as angry voices filled the air. "The humans are spreading chaos. Our fleets are losing control of the outer sectors. They are freeing slaves and turning them against us." The speaker slammed his claw against the platform. "Enough! We must unite our power and end this infestation." But then a frightened messenger ran in. "The Dominion fortress on Vega Prime has fallen." Humans led the attack. Gasps filled the room. A single species once enslaved had just broken the unbreakable. The Crawl warlord growled, "This is no longer war. It's revenge." On Vega Prime, the battle had been brutal. Thousands of human fighters using stolen transports stormed the fortress under heavy fire. Plasma bolts filled the air as humans and alien slaves fought side by side. At the end, the fortress exploded, its burning ruins lighting up the night sky. When the smoke cleared, a captured Dominion general was brought before General Trent. He was tall and armored, his scales black as iron, his voice hissed with contempt. "You are a mistake, human. The galaxy will erase you." Trent walked slowly toward him, his boots echoing on the stone floor. "You enslaved us. You killed billions. And you think we'll forget?" The alien spat. "You cannot fight forever." Trent's eyes hardened. "We don't need forever. We just need to make sure no one forgets what happens when you cross humanity." He turned and walked away, leaving the alien to face his shattered empire. In orbit, Commander Rhea Cole watched the fall of Vega Prime from her ship. She had been ordered to lead reinforcements, but she never left her position. Her crew looked to her, waiting for orders. "Commander, what now?" asked Crix quietly. Rhea stared at the burning planet below. "Now we wait. The galaxy is changing." "Are you saying we side with them?" he asked, shocked. She looked him in the eyes. "I'm saying they might be right." For the first time, a Dominion officer began to doubt her own empire. Back on Earth, celebrations shook the underground bases. Fires burned high, songs filled the air, and for a moment people smiled again. Dr. Voss sat beside a console, exhausted. The numbers on the screens showed what she had dreamed of for months: the Dominion retreating. Trent walked in, carrying 2 cups of recycled coffee. He handed her one. "You should sleep," he said. She smiled weakly. "You first." He looked at the screens again. "We're not done yet. They'll bring everything they have next time." Elena nodded. "Then we'll hit them harder." Trent sipped his coffee, his expression firm. "We've taken back the sky. Next, we take their worlds." As the stars shone over a recovering Earth, the narrator's voice would have said, "The galaxy voted to enslave humanity." But in their arrogance, they forgot one truth: humans don't stay broken. In the distance, the Retribution floated among the stars, its engines glowing softly. On its hull, freshly painted in white, were the words, The year was 2197. The Galactic Dominion, once proud and feared, was collapsing. For months, human fleets had been striking at their supply lines, attacking communication hubs and breaking the unity of the alien empire. What began as small resistance on Earth had now turned into a full-scale interstellar war. But it was not easy. Every victory came with a cost. Every ship destroyed took lives that humanity could never replace. Yet the humans fought. Not for gold, not for power. They fought for freedom. The war turns in the war room beneath the Antarctic command base. Holographic maps flickered in blue light. Dr. Elena Voss stood beside General Ryan Hale, the leader of Earth's Defense Command. The faces around them were tired, worn, but their eyes burned with determination. Dominion fleets are retreating from Sector Theta, a young officer said, but our scouts report movement toward Aurelian Prime. At that name, the room fell silent. Aurelian Prime, the Dominion's greatest fortress. It was said to be the heart of their empire. From there, the Dominion controlled fleets, armies, and even planetary governors. General Hale frowned. They'll make their last stand there, Dr. Voss nodded. And they're protecting something. We've intercepted messages about a planet breaker. A chill ran through the room. The planet breaker was not just a rumor anymore. It was a weapon capable of destroying entire worlds. A desperate plan commander, Rhea Cole, the former Dominion officer who had defected to humanity, stepped forward. Her silver-blue eyes glowed faintly, a mark of her alien heritage. They will use the planet breaker against Earth, she said. If we wait, they'll destroy you before you can reach them. Then we strike first, Hale replied. Rhea hesitated. A direct attack on Aurelian Prime means certain death for most of your fleet. General Hale looked at her calmly. Then it's a good thing humans are used to impossible odds. The room fell silent again. Every officer understood what this meant. It would be the final battle. The fleet gathers days later across the solar system. The Human Liberation Fleet assembled. Hundreds of ships, some human-made, some built from captured alien technology, stood ready. The flagship, ISS Retribution, hovered in orbit above Mars, its hull black and scarred from battle. Captain Mira Stone stood on the bridge staring at the stars. Command just sent final orders, her first officer said. We jump in 5 minutes. Mira gave a slow nod. Then let's end this. One by one, the ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind the red planet and entering the unknown. The Battle of Aurelian Prime. When the human fleet emerged near Aurelian Prime, they saw it, a massive world surrounded by silver rings and countless defense platforms. Thousands of Dominion warships waited for them like a storm of metal and plasma. Enemy fleet detected. Countless, the radar officer whispered. Mira clenched her fists. Then we make them count us too. The human fleet opened fire. Blue plasma cannons roared across space. Alien beams cut through darkness, tearing ships apart. The void lit up like lightning in a storm. On the Dominion flagship Tyrol Command, Admiral Geron watched in disbelief as human ships dove through his lines like angry hornets. How are they still fighting? He shouted. They should be crushed by now. His second-in-command replied, They use chaos tactics, sir. Randomized movements. We can't predict them. Geron slammed his claws against the console. They are savages! But deep down he was afraid. No other species had ever fought the Dominion like this. No other world had dared to strike at Aurelian Prime. Inside the storm, the battle raged for hours. Ships exploded like dying stars. Communication was chaos. On the ISS Retribution, alarm screamed. Shields at 22%. Reactor overheating! Shouted the engineer. Mira gritted her teeth. Redirect power from weapons to shields. We're not dying yet. Suddenly, a transmission came through. General Hale's voice. All units, push forward. The fortress controls are in the orbital station above Aurelian Prime. We destroy it and the Dominion falls. The fleet pushed harder. Human ships dove through enemy lines using every trick they'd learned. Kamikaze drones hit power relays. Stealth frigates hacked command networks. Rhea Cole's ship, Silver Dawn, led the final assault. Her voice came through the comms, calm and steady. This is for Earth, she said. They fired everything they had. Plasma beams, railguns, missiles. Every weapon blazed. The fortress, meanwhile. Inside the orbital fortress, Aurelian Prime Control, Dominion officers watched as their fleets burned. Admiral, the humans are breaching our defenses. cried a technician. Admiral Jaron stared at the holographic display. "Activate the planet breaker, now!" The technician's voice trembled. "Sir, it's not responding." "They've jammed the system." Jaron turned pale. Impossible. But it wasn't impossible. It was human. From deep space, Dr. Voss and her science team had hijacked the control frequencies. Using their quantum jammers, they froze the weapon's core before it could fire. The final push, the Retribution broke through the last defense line, engines screaming. Boarding teams ready. Mira shouted. Explosions shook the ship as boarding pods fired toward the fortress. General Hale himself led the assault team. They stormed the corridors, fighting Dominion guards in brutal close combat. Plasma bolts flashed. Smoke filled the halls. Rhea Cole fought beside him, her alien armor glimmering with energy. They reached the main control room. Jaron stood there, wounded but defiant. "You think you can rule what you don't understand?" he spat. General Hale raised his weapon. "No, we just refuse to be slaves." With one final shot, the Dominion admiral fell. The message to the Galaxy A's human forces secured the fortress. Dr. Voss activated the main communication array. "This is Dr. Elena Voss of Earth," her voice echoed across the galaxy. "The Dominion has fallen. The age of tyranny is over." Across countless worlds, alien slaves looked up at the sky in awe. Chains were broken. Guards fled. The rebellion spread like wildfire. Rhea Cole stood beside Hale as the fortress windows showed the burning remains of the Dominion fleet. "They'll never forget this day," she said softly. Hale nodded. "Good, they shouldn't. Sacrifice and victory, but victory came at a cost. Thousands of human ships were gone. Millions of soldiers would never return home. The Retribution floated damaged, its hull cracked, its engines dead. Yet its crew smiled through tears. They had done it. Humanity had survived the impossible. Dr. Voss sent the final command. The fortress would self-destruct, ensuring no one could ever rebuild the Dominion's weapon again. A new dawn when the fortress exploded, a wave of light spread across the stars. It was seen by every free world. To them, it was not just an explosion. It was a signal of freedom. Humanity had risen from enslavement to become the liberator of the galaxy. As the debris drifted through space, General Hale looked at the stars and whispered, "We were supposed to be broken. Instead, we became the hammer." Rhea smiled faintly. "You humans are terrifyingly beautiful." And so ended the Dominion. But for humanity, it was not the end. It was the beginning of a new age. The war was over. The Dominion was gone, but peace was not easy. The galaxy was in ruins. Countless worlds that once obeyed the Dominion now stood leaderless. Fleets drifted in silence. Cities burned on forgotten planets. And in the center of it all stood Earth, the world that had once been enslaved, now free and powerful beyond belief. The aftermath: in orbit around Earth, the ISS Retribution floated like a wounded beast. Its hull was scarred, its weapons silent. Inside, repair crews worked day and night. General Ryan Hale stood on the command deck, looking down at the blue planet below. The war had cost humanity much, cities destroyed, millions lost, but they had won their freedom. Dr. Elena Voss joined him, holding a data tablet filled with reports. "Over 50 Dominion worlds have surrendered," she said. "Others are asking for our protection." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Protection? From what?" Voss smiled sadly. "From each other." Without the Dominion, chaos had spread fast. Slave species rebelled, governors turned into warlords, and entire fleets fought for power. Rhea Cole, the alien commander who had defected to humanity, entered the room. Her once silver armor now bore the blue emblem of Earth, a white circle and a rising star. "They're afraid," she said softly. For centuries, the Dominion ruled by fear. Now they don't know what to do without it. The Council of the Free Worlds, 2 weeks later, a grand meeting was held in the ruins of the old Galactic Senate. Where once humans had been laughed at and called savages, now they stood at the center of the chamber. Representatives from dozens of alien species gathered around the circular hall. Reptilian Gorth, crystalline Xeran, winged Valeri, and more. They had all come for one reason: to beg for peace. General Hale stood before them in his dark uniform. His voice was steady, calm, and full of quiet strength. "When you voted to enslave us," he said, "you believed humanity was a danger to the galaxy. You were right." A ripple of unease spread through the room. But you misunderstood why we were dangerous, Hale continued. You thought it was because of our violence, our wars, our chaos. But it was because we never give up. You can break our bones, burn our cities, enslave our people, but you will never break our spirit. The hall was silent. Every alien watched him with wide eyes. Rhea Cole stepped forward. The Dominion ruled you with fear. Humanity offers something different. Unity through freedom. Dr. Voss raised a hologram showing the proposed abolition treaty. It declared an end to slavery across the galaxy and the creation of a new alliance, the Free Worlds Pact. Every representative was asked to sign. Some hesitated. Some trembled. But one by one they all placed their marks upon the treaty. And so in that moment humanity became the moral leader of the galaxy. The begging of the old masters. Not all were pleased. Among the crowd were the Vorlak, one of the old slave master races. They had once commanded fleets that burned Earth's skies. Now they were reduced to scattered colonies. Their leader, High Regent Takar, knelt before General Hale. His once golden robes were torn and stained. We beg for mercy, he said. Our worlds are starving. Our people are dying. Hale looked down at him. When Earth begged for mercy, what did you do? Takar's voice cracked. We followed orders. We feared the Dominion. The general's expression softened. He was not a cruel man. Then now you will learn what mercy truly means. You will rebuild, but under the Free Worlds Pact. No slavery, no chains. Ever again. Takar bowed deeply, tears glimmering in his alien eyes. The new dawn weeks passed. Across the stars, humans worked side by side with aliens to rebuild broken worlds. Ships once made for war now carried food, medicine, and engineers. On Mars, a new galactic command center was built. Not to rule others, but to unite them. The symbol of the free worlds, a blue circle with many stars, was raised high. Rhea Cole oversaw the first joint fleet, humans, aliens, and former Dominion officers working together. It was strange at first. There were arguments, mistrust, and fear. But slowly something new began to grow. Respect. Dr. Voss traveled between worlds, helping species rebuild their technology, sharing Earth's knowledge freely. Her name became known across thousands of systems as the woman who freed the stars. The ghosts of war yet, peace did not come without ghosts. Every soldier who survived carried the weight of what they had seen. The images of burning cities and lost friends haunted their dreams. One night, General Hale walked through the quiet halls of the Mars Command Center. He paused beside a memorial wall filled with the names of fallen soldiers. Rhea joined him, her blue eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. They will be remembered, she said. Hale nodded. They should be. They're the reason we're free. He looked out the window where the stars shone brighter than ever. We were meant to be slaves. Now we're something else. What? She asked softly. Guardians, he replied. The galaxy speaks. Months later, the galaxy celebrated the first day of freedom, a new holiday marking the fall of the Dominion. On thousands of worlds, people sang songs in different languages, but the message was the same. We are free. In a massive ceremony broadcast across the stars, General Hale stood before the rebuilt Senate. Behind him hung the flag of Earth, and beside it the banner of the Free Worlds Pact. Humanity will not rule you, he said. We will walk beside you. But understand this. If anyone dares to build chains again, if anyone thinks they can enslave another, he looked straight into the cameras, his eyes cold and clear. Then they will face the fury of Earth. The entire galaxy heard those words, and no one doubted them. Dr. Voss's legacy on the outskirts of the Sol system, a great space station was built, the Prometheus Ark. It was a symbol of peace, science, and cooperation. Scientists from every world worked there together. Dr. Voss stood at its heart, watching as human and alien engineers created the first interstellar drive that could travel between galaxies. Her assistant, a young Valari scientist, asked, "Do you think the galaxy will stay peaceful?" Voss smiled faintly. Peace is never permanent, but hope is. She looked out at the stars. We've learned something powerful. Not every war is won with weapons. Sometimes it's won by refusing to give up on who we are. Rhea Cole's choice, Rhea Cole, once a commander of the Dominion, now lived among humans. Many still distrusted her, but she never complained. One day she stood on Earth's green hills feeling the wind for the first time. Children ran past her laughing. human and alien children together. She smiled softly. This is what we fought for. Dr. Voss joined her. You could lead your people again, you know. The new Dominion worlds trust you. Rhea shook her head. No, I found something better. What's that? A home. The new era years later, the Galactic Senate was rebuilt, not of gold and crystal, but of simple steel and light. Every species had a voice. Every planet had a seat. At its center stood the new flag, half blue, half white, showing the unity of all races under freedom. Humans were not the masters. They were the guardians, the keepers of peace. Their fleets patrolled the stars not to conquer, but to protect. Whenever new species were discovered, they were greeted not with weapons but with open hands. And yet, the galaxy never forgot what humanity had done, how a small world of fragile creatures had risen against impossible odds and changed the fate of every star. Final scene. On the edge of the Milky Way, the ISS horizon floated in the quiet void. Captain Mira Stone, the same woman who had fought in the final battle, looked out at the endless dark. Her first officer asked, "Where to next, Captain?" She smiled. "Anywhere that needs help." As the ship's engines roared to life, a message appeared on every galactic broadcast. They once voted to enslave us. Now they ask us to lead them. Humanity endures. The horizon vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a trail of blue light that stretched across the stars, a symbol of hope, unity, and the unbreakable spirit of mankind.